Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Balabha Givaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Balabha Givaradhari Yashodanandana Bhajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanashadi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Om Vishnu Pada Paramahansa Parivrahajvacharya Ashtotasara Shri Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Book Marathon Ki Jai Gaura Premanandi Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishna Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namani 16. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvasesha Sanyavadi Pastachade Shatana Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
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 Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So today we're reading from the 8th canto, chapter 23, text number 16, correct? This is one of the, of course there are no end of famous verses in Srimad Bhagavatam, they're all famous, but this is one which is very commonly recited, referred to, and even in relationship to the humming of the microphone, today's verse explains, you could say, the science beyond this. Let's just stay there. Hold it. Let's just stop.
We don't need microphone.
No. Whether you do or don't, I do not know. But
No.
well, better not have it on at all than have this.
Yeah.
I can't fix my brain.
Yeah, but
Just turn it off for the minute at least. So kindly repeat. Mantra tas, tantra tash, chidrang, desha, kalaha, vastutaha, sarvang, karoti, nischidram, anusankirtanang, tava, Mantratas tantratas chidram.
Mantras tantras chidram.
Deshakalaha vastutaha. Sarvam karoti nischidram.
Sarvam karoti nishidram.
Anusankirtanang tava.
Anusankirtanam tava.
Mantratas tantratas chidram.
Mantras chidram.
Deshakalaha vastutaha. Sarvam karoti nischidram.
Sarvam karoti nishidram.
Anusankirtanang tava.
Anusankirtanam tava.
Mantratas tantratas chidram.
Mantras tantras chidram.
Deshakalaha vastutaha. Sarvam karoti nischidram. Anusankirtanang tava.
Anusankirtanam tava.
Mantras tantras chidram.
Mantras tantras chidram.
Deshakalata nischita.
Deshakaraha vishtuta.
Sarvam karoti nischidram.
Sarvam karoti nishidram.
Anusankirtanam tava.
Anusankirtanam tava. Mantratas tantras chidram. Deshakaraha vastuta. Sarvam karoti nishidram. Anusankirtanam tava.
Mantratas tantratas chidram.
Mantras tantras chidram.
Deshakala vastutaha.
Deshakaraha vastuta.
Sarvam karoti nischidram.
Sarvam karoti nishidram.
Anusankirtanam tava.
Anusankirtanam tava.
Ladies, a little too small. A little too small. Try to do it a little bit bigger, a little bit clearer. It's nicely written in one sense, but be careful to make sure all the words are correct before you finally do it. And I don't know who's doing it, but a little bit bigger would be good. Okay. Mantratas tantratas chidram. Deshakalaha vastutaha. Sarvam karoti nischidram. Anusankirtanam tava. Mantrataha. In pronouncing the Vedic mantras improperly. Because nobody here pronounces them improperly, they're all perfectly pronounced. Huh? Exactly. Especially where they're written correctly. Tantrataha. In insufficient knowledge. For following regulative principles. Chidram. Discrepancy. Desha. In the matter of country. Kala. And time. Arha. And recipient. Vastutaha. And paraphernalia. Sarvam. All these. Karoti. Makes. Nischidram. Without discrepancy. Anusankirtanam. Constantly chanting. The holy name. Tava. Of your Lordship. And this is an amazing verse spoken by, who knows who it's spoken by? Of all personalities. Shukracharya. Yeah. We don't usually think of him in this line, you know. He's usually he's in the wrong team, you know, the wrong party. But here he is, practically summarizing the essence of Vaishnavism, practically speaking. So he's speaking to Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu has asked him a question. What was wrong? Why have you cursed Bali Maharaj? What did he do wrong? What did he do wrong to deserve your curse? So he's answered already, I believe, a little bit, saying that actually, anyway, he's answered a little bit here. You are the Yogya Purush, the person to whom everything is offered. If one has fully satisfied you, where is the chance of discrepancy or fault in his performance of sacrifice? He knows. Sometimes, of course, Shukracharya is taking a role. If you've ever been in a drama, sometimes you have to take a role. You might be a really nice person in material sense of normal terms, but in the drama, your role is a demon. And you have to play the role. You can't say, well, I'm a nice guy, I can't say that to him. You have to play your role. So Shukracharya also playing his role. He's the spiritual master of the demons. So he has to act in such a way as to incite their demoniac, you could say, intentions. Guide them how they can try to fulfill their demoniac intentions. But he knows the Vedas. Many times even demons, even Ravana was fully conversant with the Vedas. And he even said that he defeated Narada Muni in debate. Yeah, so knowledgeable. Because this is just some Ramayana commentaries, but he was very learned and expert in music. Super excellent. They can be very skillful. Their only shortcoming is, what is the shortcoming?
They want to be God.
They want to be God. They deny Krishna, no! Just like modern times, we have a lot of, you could say, relatively intelligent people, relative to this age, but they deny Krishna. So what is the use? Yasyasti bhaktir bhava kinchana gunai sarva tattva samasata saro. Prabhupada says, what is the use of all their qualities? They may have qualities, but unless they are dovetailed towards Krishna, what is the use of them? Dharmas vanushitak pungsham vishvaksena katasya no pariyarya deviting shrama evahi kevalam. Useless waste of time. What's the value? No value. So anyway, here we go. Translation by Srila Prabhupada and purport of Shukracharya's response to the Lord's question. There may be, he says, Shukracharya Uvacha. Even Prabhupada translate was written there in the Sanskrit, Shri Hiranyakashipu Uvacha. The blessed Hiranyakashipu said. We don't normally think of him as the blessed Hiranyakashipu. But he's the Lord's eternal associate playing a role. So he's actually very blessed. There may be discrepancies in pronouncing the mantras and observing the regulated principles. And moreover, there may be discrepancies in regards to time, place, person, and paraphernalia. But when your Lordship's holy name is chanted, everything becomes faultless. Faultless. There may be faults in, when you're doing a yajna, for instance. The direction may be wrong. The location may be wrong. The paraphernalia may be wrong. The place itself may be wrong. The time may be wrong. The person doing it may be wrong. The paraphernalia, the mantras may be wrong. Not that we should, of course, purposely or neglectfully do like that, but for sure there's going to be some discrepancy. No doubt about it. In Kali Yuga, Kalaya Dosha Dade Rajanasti Eka Mahanga. There's fault in everything we do. Full of faults. From the material, the Vedic point of view, you will find some fault. Right? Now if the priest, end of sacrifice, did you see what I did? You were doing something else or not watching. Touch my nose. Finish the fault. Finish the yoga. Start again. Yeah, start again. A baby over there has its finger in its mouth, maybe. Finish of yogya. All over. Sangita, yogya finished. They're so strict. One little fault. One little fault. One mantra mispronounced could be a total disaster. What's that example? There's one, was it Indra, huh? Was it Visvasura's father, what's his name? Svasta. Twasta. One word wrong in all the mantras, disaster. Complete opposite effect. Instead of having a son who would be the enemy of Indra, he would have a son to whom Indra would be the enemy. Just one little mistake. So careful. It's impossible. The whole, because even the Karmakandya section where you're worshipping demigods and so on, it's very dangerous. You've got to satisfy all, what was it, 33 million demigods. Not just one. If one's dissatisfied, whoop. Pretty hard, huh? Therefore, anusankirtanam tava. Everything becomes nishchidram. By anu means constant. It doesn't just mean Hare Krishna. It means, absorption. And when the chant, that's why in our yogyas in ISKCON, and it doesn't always go on, but we were brought up like that. Throughout the whole yoga, there must be kirtan going on, or japa, or both. It must be there. Otherwise, okay, maybe some samskaras, impressions. Otherwise, it's a kind of a ritual which we don't have a clue what's going on half the time, or more of the time. And it may not, it has its purpose. But the most important thing of all is this. There may be discrepancies, but wherever your Lordship's holy name is chanted, everything becomes faultless. This is the whole purpose of the Sankirtan movement. Everything else, whether it's Trinadapi, Sinichena, Torora, Iva Sahishnuna, more humble than a straw in the street, tolerant than a tree. What does it mean? We have no hope of any other process. Other processes go on for various reasons, but ultimately it's depending on the chanting of the holy name. If it doesn't, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj said, if all the activities we do not evoke an attraction towards the holy name, they are impediments on the path of devotion. Impediments. We're here to cultivate Sankirtan, chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Everything is very important. Deity worship, beautifully dressed deities, inspires us to perform Sankirtan, prasadam, everything. Because we're facing difficulties now. Namacharya Prabhu is he's really feeling such a stress because he's worked so hard to try to get the heating going. And it's still, I don't know if it's working at all or what, I don't know what's going on. Is something going on? Oh yeah? Okay. Something's going on. Water is moving and something's going on. And we haven't given up yet, believe me. We haven't stopped. There's, maybe another approach, but we're not going to stop. The heating must come on. So the devotee may be determined. These are all ultimately, what's the use of heating? When you really look at it, what's the use of all these things? We need it, right? Physically speaking, human needs are there. But what's the ultimate need of it? Yeah, so you can serve Krishna. I mean, people may have nice heat in Russia. They have lovely heat in their houses. Minus 30 outside, and inside it's like plus 30. But what's the use of it? Shrama evi kevalam. Atak pumbir dvija shreshta. Varna shrama vibhagasha. Svanishitashta dharma sangsidhir haritoshanam. The purpose of everything You have a nice system. You have a nice house. You have a nice car. You have a nice anything. But what's the use of it? The purpose of that is simply onefold. Sanksidhira Haritoshanam. To please Lord Hari. That's the purpose. And in Kali Yuga, how do we please Lord Hari? Chanting the holy name. Very simple. Other things are there. Whatever the representative of the Lord asks us to do, we do. But ultimately, the Yuga Dharma, the instruction of the Lord himself, so the humility is to realize that I'm not qualified. Kali Yuga. How qualified are we to perform yagyas, Vedic yagyas? Perform deity worship to the standard of, previous yugas. To meditate. How long can you meditate? Come on. Shantatma, how long can you meditate? You've got Shanta, you must be Shantatma.
5 to 10 seconds.
5 to 10 seconds, pretty good. Wow. Better than me. That's pretty good. Meditate on what? I don't know. It's pretty hard in Kali Yuga. There may be some rare... Oh my goodness, end of the program. I just touched my nose again. I haven't got any tissues. This is a problem. Any tissues? Tissues. Here we go. Merci beaucoup. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is recommended. Prabhupada writes. What does he recommend? What does Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu recommend?
Kirtaniya Sadahari.
Yeah, Kirtana Sadahari. And what else does he recommend? It's the same thing, but he says in different words. Famous verse, he heard it from Ishwar Puri as Guru Maharaj. What is that? Harinama, Harinama, Harinama eva kevala. Kala nastyeva, 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 gatir anyata. What does it mean? In this age of Kali, in this age of quarrel, Kali means quarrel and hypocrisy or hyper crazy. Different interpretation. Hyper crazy, hypocrisy. Many English words you can just twist them a little bit and get a more kind of vivid meaning. The only means of deliverance is chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. In this age of Kali, it is extremely difficult to perform Vedic ritualistic ceremonies or sacrifices perfectly. Hardly anyone can chant the Vedic mantras with perfect pronunciation or accumulate the paraphernalia for Vedic performances. You sometimes see plastic in there, aluminium in there, steel. All these things are impure. Impure. They're not fit for Vedic yagyas. Yeah. If we have steel, we think we're very, we're doing good here, Well, a bit of aluminium underneath, so aluminium foil on top of something or another. You see, even cups sometimes made of this aluminium foil, and plastic cups are there. I've seen devotees bathing the deities in plastic cups, plastic teaspoons, all kinds of things. Kali Yuga. Therefore, the sacrifice recommended in this age is Sankirtan, constant chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Yagyai Sankirtanam prayer yajantihi sumedasaha. Who knows this verse? Excuse me? Krishna Vanam Tvisha Krishnam Yagyai Sankirtanam prayer. And what does this amazing verse mean? What does it mean?
Krishna has appeared in a different color, not black, as Lord Chaitanya, along with his associates, And he's always vibrating Krishna. And people who have little intelligence, who have sufficient intelligence, they will worship the Supreme Lord by Sankirtan.
Jai! So, do you have to go to university, get a PhD to chant Hare Krishna?
May I say something?
Who's there?
So Prabhupada explains
I'm good.
Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Pardon?
Jiva Goswami, Prabhupada explains Chaitanya Charitamrita related to this sloka, that Jiva Goswami said Astra, the word Astra means weapon. But
Weapons.
Doesn't feel anyone. What means weapon?
His weapons are his hands
And
and
Jiva Goswami says this weapon means two things: the beauty of the Lord and the devotees,
The what?
the preachers.
The beauty
The-
of the Lord.
The beauty of Lord Chaitanya, his beauty, and another weapon is the devotees
The devotees?
who hold the world to spread the chant of the holy.
Yeah. His limbs. His beauty, his limbs. There are many commentaries. Sometimes we also use the weapons. Sometimes it's a weapon too. Clapping your hands. Boom, boom, boom. All kinds of weapons accompany the chanting of the holy name. You don't need to have a degree in a PhD in farming, plow department, or whatever it is. Even you don't need that. Anyone can chant. You don't even need instruments. Prabhupada writes, simply clap your hands and chant. Intelligent people worship the Lord. Instead of wasting time performing Vedic sacrifices, those who are intelligent, those who possess good brain substance, should take to the chanting of the Lord's holy name and thus perform sacrifice perfectly. Good brain substance. Interesting. Of course, depends how you define it, but good brain substance, what does it mean?
Matière grise.
Hmm?
C'est matière grise.
Materialist?
Grey matter.
The grey matter up there. Good. If you've got good grey matter, you can. And what is it? What does Prabhupada mean here? Where do we read that? Should take this one. Huh? Intelligence, yeah. Those who are intelligent, it says here. Those who possess good brain substance. In other words, your brains are not stuffed up with all kinds of, what did Prabhupada say?
Cow dung.
Cow dung. Well, that's a pretty good compliment in one sense. Pig dung or some other kind of dung. I saw a sign in New Zealand one time. We were driving on the road and there was this big sign. New Zealand is famous for many things. One of them is beef. You know, they have a lot of cattle there and a lot of meat products. So the sign said, Brainstein. Good for the brain. Eat beef. Brainstein. No, they're imitating Einstein, you know, the picture of Einstein. Brainstein. Eat beef. This is their idea.
So they are very smart there.
Yeah, yeah. It makes your brain is dull. You cannot understand spiritual matters. What does Prabhupada say about getting a good brain? Wash it, okay. Have to make a little incision there and put some cleaning stuff inside. Well, one time in Australia, that was funny. You probably heard it before, but on television one time, Bhavananda was interviewed. He was a very brave preacher, Bhavananda. He was on television, the whole of Australia practically watching the interview, you know. And the guy's challenge show, you know. Okay, Mr. Swami, people say you're brainwashing people. What have you got to say about that? You know, like, boom, boom. Imagine if you're on television and someone just blasts you like that, you know. Yes, we are brainwashing people because your brain is filthy and we need to wash it. He went straight. Your brains are filthy. They need washing. He didn't beat around the bush. He got such a lot of, credit for that. The Australian people are like, great answer. They love it, you know. They love people, you know, straightforward like that, you know. But it's a fact. A brain, what does it mean? Brainwashing, full of all material desires, huh? Completely full of material desires. Where's the chance of thinking of Krishna or understanding Krishna consciousness when the brain is full of all these things? It has to be cleared out, you know. It's like dirty water. You can't see anything properly. So people, intelligent people, it takes time. Cheto Darpana Marjan, to cleanse our hearts. Cleanse our consciousness. Empty the brain of all this cow dung or whatever it is inside there. I have seen, Prabhupada said, that many religious leaders are addicted to performing yajnas and spending hundreds and thousands of rupees for imperfect sacrificial performances. That's in the West, I don't know what they do, but in India it's very common. They spend money on all sorts of stuff. I remember one famous rich family, they spent, God knows how many millions of dollars was. They built an island off the coast of Bombay, you know, in the bay there, with a bridge across. They built, you know, just for the marriage of their daughter. They flew in all the richest people from around the world who wanted to come, you know, just for this one thing. Spent millions, if not billions of rupees. Okay, something has to be there, but you know, it's going overboard. And no Sankirtan Yajna going on. This is a lesson for those who unnecessarily execute such imperfect sacrifices. We should take the advice of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Yagyaya Sankirtanam prayerya jantihi sumedasa. Although Shukracharya was a strict Brahmin, addicted to ritualistic activities, he also admitted, Nischidram anusankirtanam tava. My Lord, constant chanting of the holy name of your Lordship makes everything perfect. In Kali Yuga, the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies cannot be performed as perfectly as before. Therefore, Srila Jiva Goswami has recommended that although one should take care to follow all the principles in every kind of spiritual activity, especially in the worship of the deity, there is still a chance of discrepancy, and one should compensate for this by chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In our Krishna consciousness movement, therefore, we give special stress to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra in all activities, every activity. So right now we're kind of in the middle of the Prabhupada December book marathon, more or less in the middle. And also in this regards, maybe you could just pass my computer bag or whatever it is. Book distribution of how many of ISKCON, purposes of ISKCON. How many purposes are mentioned therein? 7 purposes, huh? And what's the last one? Pardon? Yeah, to publish, print, distribute transcendental literatures to fulfill the other purposes. It's the foundation of the purpose of ISKCON, is the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, manifested in a literary form. Okay, people in general, they may have brains full of stuff, and they may not be able to understand it. I mean, you take a common verse. I mean, let's look at another verse. Okay, over here. Imagine an ordinary person on the street reading, whenever the activities of Vamanadev are described in the course of a ritualistic ceremony, whether the ceremony be performed to please the demigods, to please one's forefathers in Pitri Loka or Pear Tree Loka, or to, depends which book you read, or to celebrate a social event like a marriage, that ceremony should be understood to be, I mean, what does it really mean? How does that register in an ordinary person's mind, you know? It's like a different language for them, practically. It's like, still, nonetheless, something may register, but nonetheless, as we know, Prabhupada said, even if they look at the book, their life is benefited. Or to speak of buy it, or if they touch it, look at it. If they want to speak, if they read it, even if they read one page, one line, one shloka, one word, Prabhupada said their lives are benefited. Their spiritual life has begun. They made tremendous progress. It's just a matter of time. So what am I looking at here? We're going to look a little, I don't know if I can. Open, let's see. Here we go. Ooh, that was clever. So just to give you an update of the mercy that Srila Prabhupada is bestowing on the people of France right now, through his limbs, or through his beauty in the form of his devotees going out spreading this message. Tavakatam mitam tapta jivanam. Come on. Kavibiriditam kalmashapaham. Shravanamangalam Srimaratatam Bhuvigrinantiye Burida Janaha. A very, very, very famous verse. Who spoke this verse? Pardon? The Gopis, Radharani, the Gopis spoke this verse in separation from Krishna. Who else spoke this verse? Oh, we got a bird here. Oh, Haribo. That's okay, it's nice, no problem. Who else spoke this verse? Famous. King Prataparudra. When he was massaging Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the Jagannath Vallabha gardens, desperately desiring for the Lord's mercy, association, he recited this verse amongst all the other verses from the Gopi Gita. And when he recited this verse, Lord Chaitanya could not restrain. He couldn't restrain himself anymore. He just jumped in ecstasy, embracing the king. This verse just, because it touches on something very deep beyond perhaps the surface, which we see. The mood of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the real inner meaning of Sankirtan. Those who are the greatest welfare workers, Burida Janaha. Those who are the greatest welfare workers, Tavakatamritam Tapta Jivanam. There is no other relief in this world there is no other than topics spoken by Krishna or about Krishna. There is nothing. Everything else is superfluous. If you read the conversation, perhaps you've read it maybe already, the conversation with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy, just prior to where you're reading now in CC. One thing after another, it goes way beyond anyone's conception of, the highest truth. Way beyond it. And still Lord Chaitanya is saying, more, this is okay, but say more. Go further. This is Sankirtan. The Sankirtan movement. It may look on the surface just a bunch of idiots jumping around, Hari Hari Krishna, Hari Hari Rama, whatever people say, Some crazy guys having a good time. And we may still be a little bit crazy. But ultimately, Sankirtan is the inner heart of Radharani. It's the most intimate, you could say, mood. What to say. So the greatest welfare work in this world are those who spread this message to others. They are the greatest welfare workers of all. Others are just entangling us in this material world, bewildering us, filling your brains with different types of dung. So, blue dung, red dung, green dung, communist dung, capitalist dung, coronavirus dung, all kinds of dung. Money dung, body dung, enjoy yourself. Yeah. Dung, you know what dung is? He doesn't wonder what dung is. Dung, everyone's dung, ding dong. This is so, what to say, Prabhupada is so merciful. No one else coming out of India to this place where people are just desperately killing each other. Give me the dung. I want more dung. That's my dung.
We'd like to pay.
Huh?
We'd like to pay for dung.
I'll pay any amount for that dung. I'll risk my life. Everything. It's crazy world. Prabhupada came in this crazy world and selflessly, even without appreciation, chanting, I have no knowledge, Prabhupada said, I have no knowledge, I have no devotion, I simply have faith in the holy name. Spreading the holy name. Everything will come by absorption. Proper absorption. Everything else is there to help us to develop the correct attitude so we can actually engage in Sankirtan. So anyway, I'll just finish with a little recap. How many books have been distributed in the first, 12 days? 12 days. We've got maybe 19 more days of opportunity to perform this great yajna. This is the real yajna, Sankirtan yajna. Yajna Sankirtanam prayer. And Prabhupada emphasizes, of course, he said that the chanting Sankirtan in the form of chanting the holy name must go on constantly. But book distribution is like, the big bomb. And others would describe like a big, it's like the big explosion. When someone gets a book and takes it away with them to their home or their country or whatever it may be. We find people in places you've never been. Prabhupada's already there in the book. And so far this month, not including yesterday, actually, if we include yesterday, it goes up a little bit. The total books distributed this month so far, about 2,600 Bhagavad Gitas so far in France. And other books, I would say about 1,000, over 1,000 other books. Mostly we're concentrating on Gitas, and 6,000 book points so far this month. Our target still is 16,108 book points. So we still have about 10,000 book points to go. So every one of us can take part in this yoga, even if it's very small. It's not a question of big or small, it's a question of taking part in the yoga. You know how the little spider or the squirrel, whatever different versions are there, assisting Lord Ram in the great yoga of building the bridge, was just as important, if not more important, to Lord Ram than Hanuman. Because it's the heart. You're trying to do that little bit to assist bring pleasure to Srila Prabhupada by distributing books. Every little bit counts. We're hoping for 108 devotees at least participating. So far we have 46. Well, there's one more, makes 47 so far. No, there's two more yesterday. 49 so far. Devotees are participating. There's plenty more in this room. I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 50. We haven't put your score in yet. 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58. If everyone in this room distributes one book, we're already up to 58. What's the difficulty? Prabhupada, having suffered heart attacks on the Jaladuta, is going out door to door, shop to shop in New York on his own in the winter cold weather, distributing Srimad Bhagavatams. What is the difficulty? At least take it with you when you go wherever you go during the week. If you go to the doctors, the hospital, the shop, the pub, I don't know where you go, wherever it is. Wherever we go during the week, we hope you don't go there. Some devotees I've seen venturing into that place in the Kriya. Not from here. But wherever we go, see if you can give. We had one devotee in England. He used to do that. He was addicted to drinking, but he would take books with him when he'd go to the pub and give them to his drinkers. One of the nicest devotees in England joined the movement through one devotee who kind of really blooped and fell away and said, I'm not going to follow all this stuff, but I think this is good for you. And he gave him a book, and the devotee became one of the leaders. You never know. Krishna has his plan. Everybody can take part in the Sankirtan movement. We've seen drunks in Paris distribute books. There was one drunk last year. He said, give me some money. And I don't know which one of our devotees said, look, if you take this book and sell this book, you can keep the profit, okay? And he sold a book for €5. gave 3 years to the devotee, kept 2. It's like, it's not what we normally do, but everyone can take part. They don't know what they're doing. I remember a couple of marathons ago, we were in, last day of the marathon, we were in Champs-Élysées. We were doing Harinam and book distribution in Champs-Élysées at like 10 o'clock till midnight, or 8 o'clock till midnight, something like that. Millions of people. And I remember we were doing Harinam and people gathering around, and there's one drunk kind of guy coming, dancing around. Maybe he wasn't so drunk, but he was there, and he bought a bottle of high-class liquor. We had a little donation box. He bought a bottle of high-class liquor and placed it in front of the box, Nice liquor, good quality one. And so maybe he was sitting there and what to do with it. About 10 minutes later, another drunk came along, dancing around. I said, hey man, you like liquor? He said, sure. Hey, put a donation in the box, take the bottle. He put a donation in the box and took the bottle. It was a few euros, it wasn't like 10 cents, So I gave him books as well, He took it away. I mean, we don't normally do these things, It's not like a daily affair, but engaging people in the spirit of the mood and nor Nityananda's mood, somehow or another get people, to perform yogya, Sankirtan yogya, somehow or another, Get that book there. So, thank you all very much for serving here under the difficult situation right now with few things going on. But Prabhupada had to face far more difficulties. So many difficulties. So many challenges, from top to bottom. But he never stopped. He carried on, pushing on this Sankirtan movement. So at least we can try to bring a little pleasure to Prabhupada and do whatever little we can to distribute Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gauda Premanande.
Maharaj, when are you trying to come back?
Not sure. As it with because if need be, we'll come back. I've got to go today. There's some things I have to do and deliver books and different things. And when they're churning the milk ocean, not only nectar comes out, other things come out too. So when you perform a yogya, you expect Maya to put tests in the way. You expect that. Kali is on the, trying to stop this Sankirtan movement. You expect some challenge. But the Vaishnava doesn't. He takes that on board. I was reading, I'll tell you, this is an amazing story. Listen to this one. This is an amazing story. When was the Christchurch earthquake? Like 8 years ago, 9 years ago? In New Zealand? I went there a few days after. I flew from India straight away to Christchurch. And the devotees there told me that on the day of the earthquake, one devotee was giving, what's her name, I've forgotten, was giving Bhagavatam class, and she read a verse. And this is in the 6th canto Bhagavatam. And in the purport, Prabhupada says, sometimes Krishna tells his devotee in a dream that his temple needs to be replaced or repaired. The garden needs to be redone. And sometimes the whole purport is about changing things. And that very day, 3 hours later, the earthquake struck and destroyed the temple.
The whole temple. Yeah.
The whole temple flattened. And the night before, the head pujari's daughter, had a dream. She woke up, what is going on? Gaur and Tai were running off the altar, chanting Hare Krishna. Come with this. They left the temple and went out.
What if with these ones?
And then the next day, boom, the temple was flattened. You can't see what's going on. And the purport says, sometimes the deities bury themselves out of sight.
The idols.
Krishna, we don't see. We only see from our perspective. Oh, but there's a great plan going on there. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.